So today's Hebrew word of the day is faith. Again, in the Hebrew, that's imunah from the Strong's H530. And it consists of 4 alphabets: the Ah, the Ma, the Na, and the Ha. So in the breakdown of the meaning of those alphabets, the Ah, or the Aleph, if you're studying modern, the Ah means ox head, crown, power, leader, and strength. The Ma, or the Mem, is water, chaos, mighty, or blood. And the Na, or the Nun, is seed, fish, life, continue, air, and sun. And the Ha, or the He, is window, lo, behold, reveal, breathe, and look. So when I put these alphabets together, pray for Hebraic understanding, I come with the understanding of imunah to be the belief and the power of the strong leader whose blood was shed for the truth of the Son of Man, who is Mashiach, to be revealed to Israel. The belief in the power of the strong leader whose blood was shed for the truth of the Son of Man to be revealed to Israel. And I have a few scriptures to support that understanding. Matthew 17:20. And Mashiach said unto them, because of your unbelief, for surely I say unto you, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible for you. Acts 28:16. Acts 26, verse 18. To open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light, from the power of Hasatan unto Elohim, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me. Romans 3:25. Whom Elohim set forth to be a propitiation for his blood. All right, somebody else read that over again. Romans 3:25. Whom Elohim set forth to be a propitiation through faith in his blood, to declare his righteousness for the remission of sins that are past through the forbearance of Elohim. Romans 3:31. 3:31. Do we then make void the law through faith? Elohim forbid. Yea, we establish the law. Romans 10:17. So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of Elohim. Today's Hebrew word of the day, faith, imunah.
Hear me?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna start off telling you how this came about. A couple of weeks ago, the Most High was kind of leading me to present something to my family, and I was looking around at the TV shows and their friends and those kind of things. And the Most High was telling me, he said, "Hey, you need to do a word on this particular topic." And he gave me 2 separate topics. And so when I got the call to kind of give a Shabbat, it was probably like last Sunday. I was like, I said, let me think about it, because I'm not sure I have time. COVID was kind of like in my job and keep me kind of late. And, I had a bunch of reasons why that I couldn't do it at first. That I had to give you a call back. But the Most I had to tell me, hey, we got to understand one thing. He is first in everything we do. Our jobs and what we have, our resources, everything we have is provided by him. So I had to humble myself and say, hey, when he calls, you listen, okay? So instead of me trying to change a lot of stuff, I'm actually going to present to you guys what I was going to present to my family, because you guys are my extended family, and I think it's important. I also think that during this time, I think the Most High is preparing us. I mean, we've been through the awakening, we've been through the part like in learning who we are and those kind of things, but now he's separating and he's causing preparation time. It's almost like, I know some people in the beginning, we was having our little backpacks, right? We was getting emergency equipment, we was getting everything we might need to be in the wilderness, right? Well, here's the deal. When you make a backpack or when you put your stuff together, most time you kind of decide what's important and what's not, right? We kind of figure out if what we need, the vital things we need, and we can't take everything. So we got to get the things that's really important to us. That being said, sometimes we're not packing right. We kind of pack burdens. We pack stuff that keep us down. We pack stuff that shouldn't be in that backpack. That's actually taking us the other direction. So we got to make sure we know what we are packing and packing things that we need for this trip. Also, it's kind of like this sermon going to be kind of like he said, it's going to bring the word. But I'm going to let the word speak. I'm going to try not to say too much about it. I'm going to let the word speak because I know this is going to be one that kind of touches everybody in a certain type of way. It's one of those words that we have to every day look into ourselves and look to people around us and make sure we are in the right ruach, in the right fruits, the right spirit. So that being said, a lot of times we say that we're in the ruach, right? And we say, well, the ruach with us, the ruach told me do this, the ruach told me do that. One thing we got to remember that he said test every spirit. When he says that means it's not one spirit. It's different spirits out there. It's different ruachs out there. So what ruach are we living in? You have people, even entertainers, that tell you, that God told them this, the Most High told them this, and have that they say those kind of words, right? But at the same time is they're cursing, they're doing foolishness, they're listening to things they shouldn't listen to. They're doing all that. So you got to ask yourself, what spirit are they being led by? So we're gonna talk about certain things about what spirit are we being led by and what we led in our gates. So interesting enough, one of the last verses that I just brought out with the word, Ach Patrick, was the one about hearing the word. And the word is built by hearing it, and faith is built by hearing the word, correct? Because the word is our ear gate. So the name of this lesson is Who Has Your Ear? The sword cuts and the body consumes. Let's go. Let's get it. All right, we'll start off with let's slide this thing over real quick. All right, we'll start off with playing with the screen a little bit, y'all. Start off with Hebrews 4:12, verse 16. For the word of Yah is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even dividing asunder of souls and ruach, and the joints and the marrow, and the discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the heart. Really listen to that part. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and open into his eyes of him with whom we have to give account. Seeing that we have a great high priest that is passing to the Shamahims, Yahusha, the son of Elohim, let us hold fast our profession. For we have not a high priest which cannot be touched with the feelings of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we were. Yet without sin, let us therefore come boldly upon the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and give grace to help help in time of need. When I was looking at the word quick, you're thinking like it's something that happened fast, right? But when I looked at the word quick, it means life. It means living water. It means the word it gives us everything we need, not only to guide us, but to direct us. Because if you think about it, it is, I wrote something down, said, without direction, it's no direction without correction. And that is so true, because if you think about the Most High, he corrects us in everything we do, and that correction is good for us. It's good for our ruach. And if you look at also when he talks about how it divides asunder the joints and the marrows, that's the inner parts. And in the inner parts, they use the heart as an identification of your inner parts. So he's gonna decide what's more important to you. So either you're gonna serve him, or you're gonna serve everything else around you. So I know that and most of us have came from the church, and in the church we were taught that that we have is prosperity, right? Most of the time, you have 1 or 2 verses, and it's all feel-good message. Well, what I've learned in Awakening is the feel-good message doesn't make you grow. The message that pierce you, that really make you think, that really make you challenge yourself, those are things that make you grow. And I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm about ready to get out this wicked nation. I'm about ready to serve the Most High like He deserves to be served. So my next verse I'm talking about is Chronicles 7:14-15. We all know this, but do we believe it? If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear them from Shamahim, will I forgive their sins, and will heal their land. Now my eyes shall be open and my ears attent unto the prayers that is made in this place. Our eyes, our ears, they are all gateways for us. We got to guard them, y'all. Let me scoot that up. He that has a ear, let him hear what the Ruach says unto the called assembly. That's us. It's time, Israel. It's time to hear what the Most High is saying. And when they tell them to call out assembly, that means every single assembly has a job to do. They had to test their assembly. They have to test the people. They have to test themselves and see are they have the right Ruach. Test it now, because Mashiach will. He says in Revelation, he's going to test and see where your Ruach is. Just get it. Your ear gate. So in Strong's, I don't know how to move this thing, y'all. I'm technically trying to learn how to use this Zoom, moving everything around. The ear is a gateway to bring us out of our physical and spiritual understanding. So when I looked up Strong's on listening, it was H238. It means to hear, to be obedient, to hearken, and to hear or listen to prayers, listen to Elohim. It's interesting that you do the word hearken that we're going to talk about later on. When hearken, it talks about hearken means that you're listening, but you're not processing. You're not making sure that's the right thing to do. But we're going to talk about that later on. So whenever I talk about things and I would try to get affiliation with stuff, I always want to know the function of it. What's the purpose of it? So studying that, I studied the ear a little bit, saying, okay, what makes the ear so relevant? We got 2 of them. Why is it so important in what we do and how we do things and how it keeps certain noises obeyed, right? And when I was looking at it and studying it, because I studied in school, it talks about, basically it divides the ear into the outer ear, the middle ear, and inner ear. And if you look at the canal, sound goes in at one frequency through the outer ear, right? And then you look at the middle ear, the tympanic membrane, that's the one that kind of guides and keep you from getting every information inside the inner ear. And if most people have kids, you see that most of the time when you have an ear infection, it mostly affects the tympanic membrane. So it's kind of like an intercessor a little bit, right? And then we go to cochlear. It's actually a sound. It enhances or amplifies the sound. It actually has liquid in there, and that liquid actually amplifies the sound. So the sound that came in is greater when you go inside the inner ear. And then so from there is a gateway to the higher power, which is your brain. So I was thinking about that when I was studying. I was like, wow, that sounds a lot like the tabernacle. That sounds a lot like the holies of holies. So you think about it. The ear is almost like you got the outer courts. That's where most people are hanging out in the outer court. They want to know what's going on. They kind of give their things before the priest. They trying to see what's going to happen to Israel on Day of Atonement, right? And then we get the priest gets all the message. He goes in the holies, and he gives intercession to the Most High about making sure He forgives you, and He gives atonement for all your sins. And inside that, you also have the shedding of blood. All those things happen there right before He goes to holies of holies. Now, the holies of holies is a high power. If what was said and what was given is not acceptable, we already know what happens to that high priest, correct? So it's interesting that we have 2 of the ears, and it's so important to make sure we protect what goes in there, to make sure what goes in there is holy. What should go there is righteous in the eyes of the Most High, and we use our spiritual ears to discern what should we be letting inside to our higher power. which is our brains, right? And the Most High. So the importance of hearing. As believers, we must recognize the gates that allow our nephesh to receive messages and guard them. We had to be diligent about what we allow to access our temples. We kind of already alluded on. We most frequently hear to be an active, we got to be an active listener. Tuning in with our spiritual ear and hearing the truth, which is the word, which is the Torah. The ear is a powerful gateway, and he discerns what edifies or kills the body. Some songs we shouldn't be listening to. Some words we shouldn't be listening to. We need to bring those things that lift us up, lift him up, so we can be edified. And we need to close out the things that tear us apart. They spend billions and billions of dollars a year to make sure that whatever they make us hear and see changes our thoughts and how we perceive things in our mind. So keep that in mind. If you cannot hear and you cannot communicate what you hear, you cannot hear and determine the response and how to follow instructions. One of the first things you learn in elementary school is to learn how to follow instructions. But you only follow instructions by hearing. And you only follow instructions by hearing the one voice that's important. Whoever that leader is, whoever that person in the front of that classroom is, they are teaching you, they are telling you. And the more you hear from that person, the more information you're giving that person, the higher your grade's going to be, because that information in that class is important to you. Well, we don't have a greater power, a better power. The highest power is on the Most High. But you can't hear him with just plain words. You got to hear him through the Ruach. You got to hear him through his voice. Matter of fact, even when I go into prayer, I'm talking to my family, even when I even started working on this, he would tell me, no, don't do that. No, watch out for that. Do this first. Take that out. That's when you know you have a spiritual ear for him. That's when you know it's his voice. But here's the key. When you say his voice, how do I know it's really his voice? Other spirits can give you a voice too. Well, that's why it's so important that you have to read the word. You have to know him and know him from his word. He would tell you, and he tells you throughout the word what kind of Elohim he is. So now I can discern, is it his voice or another voice? Hearing. So then, belief comes by hearing. We're doing Romans 10:17. Ach Patrick. We're on the same accord. So then belief comes by hearing, and hearing the word of Yah. But I say, have they not heard? Yes, verily, their sound went into the earth, and their words unto the ends of the earth. Your relationship with Yah comes from hearing with your spiritual ears and your eyes. And then we're going to Mark 4:24. And he said unto them, take heed that you hear, with what measures you meet, it shall be measured to you, and unto you that hear shall more be given. That's basically telling us the more he gives us, the more he trusts us with, the more blessings we will get, and the more learning we will get. But we got to make sure we listen to him. There's too many other things there's too many other things out there to try to muffle the Most High's word. So we got to make sure we have a tuned ear to him. So train your ears to listen to the word and avoid carnal things. But we all know that what sin is not doing the Torah, it's not doing law. That's sin. So if we're listening to things we know we shouldn't listen to, and we continue to listen to it, we're sinning. Proverbs. Let me move this out the way again. Proverbs 1:5. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel. I always listen to the Proverbs. The Proverbs actually give you a way to walk around during the day. If you listen to a key word and you meditate on it, Proverbs, you always learn something from Proverbs. So I try to daily, if I remember if I was doing my other verses, to make sure I always get a word from Proverbs, a word of wisdom. All right, so now we're going into the meat of what we're trying to talk about today. If you look around, one of the things I was going to put in here, but I didn't have enough time, and I wasn't sure, maybe it wasn't relevant because he didn't tell me to make sure I get it. If you look around and you look at statistics, we know that in statistics, a lot of times they have all kind of numbers for us as African Americans. They have us the highest incarceration, which we know is true. They have us the highest on teenage pregnancy. They have us look foolishness a lot of times on news and everything else where we color our hair blonde or red or different type of colors to look like the heathens. Just all kind of statistics that doesn't go for us. And now we understand that most of this is because of our disobedience, right? Because of curses. But then you got to ask yourself, why are we in the curses? Because if you look at it, we're repeating the same things because we're out of order. We need to get ourselves back in order. If we want to get out of this, if we want to get out of this wicked place and we want to get back in the land, which we all say and we all praise for, then we have to get ourselves back in order. So Most High is right now, if you look at what's going on in the world today, he's putting back in order. He's starting with the plagues. He's starting with the word coming out there. And the next is, we already know what it is judgment. So when I look in Strong's, the definition for order is to arrange or set or delay order, to set things forth, to compare, to be comparable, to ordain, to handle, to prepare, to direct, and to esteem. Then I look at the other one, chaos. Chaos is to means formlessness, confusion, emptiness, nothingness, empty space, wasteland, wilderness, place of chaos, and vanity. Whoa. And one thing you see all the time throughout Israel, y'all, unreal, is idols. Idols, idols, idols. So that same word, chaos, was kind of used when the beginning of Genesis, and said the earth was formed and void. And what did the Most High did? He brought it back in order. That means if you look at what's going on now with the dry bones, Ezekiel 37, he said, will those dry bones live? And what he first thing it did, he's asking that question because will Israel get back in order? This is no different when he destroyed the world for the same reason, to put the world back into the place it should be, to put us back in order. So let's talk. Let's go back to the meat of everything, right? Let's go back to Genesis. So Genesis 1, verse 27. So Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he, male and female created them. Now, when you look at the image means likeness. Now, we still have the likeness of the Most High, but likeness also means his qualities. Do we still have the qualities of the Most High? We're going to see. So then we go to Genesis 2, 15 through 18. And Yahuwah Elohim took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to guard it. So it sounds like the Adam was supposed to guard the garden. What does that mean? And Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it. For in that day that you shall eat of it, you shall surely die. Yahuwah Elohim said, it is not good that these things, the man should be alone. Oh, I put both together, huh? Man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. Now, when you look at this, he told him to guard that garden. That means he told him to protect it, keep other things away from it. He gave him a clear command. I don't know if he gave it to him verbally or what, but you could tell he gave him a voice to hearken to. And he told him that it's not good for him to be alone. After he did all that work, he gave him a helpmeet. We know what that word means, and we'll talk about it later. So let me move this up a little bit. Let's go to Genesis 2, 21 to 24. And Yahuwah Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man. And he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which Yahuwah had taken from a man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And the man said, this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of a man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto the woman, and shall be one flesh. Few things. I'm not going to say them that the word said. The word made man, and he said, man shall protect the garden. He then made woman to make it a helpmeet. I'm just going to say exactly what it says. The man was so ecstatic. He said, this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. I want to make sure that when we listen to these words, he ordained those words. Do we still trust his word? Are we still going to say, this is how he wants it done? Or did he change things? From my understanding, the Most High is the same. Let's dig some more. Genesis 3:6-9. And the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make her wise. She took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her man with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons, right? They walk in the cool of the day. They hear from the Most High. They dress themselves up because now their sin was revealed. When they mean now they can see they were naked, that means uncovering your sin. They both are uncovered. Not just one, they both are uncovered. And you understand when you talk about the woman that took the fruit, the blame don't go on her. The blame goes on the man. He was supposed to guard the garden. He let Hasatan get inside the garden. Now, she desired that fruit, so she had her own responsibility. So it was a dual responsibility, but ultimately, someone hearkened not to the voice of the Most High, but they hearkened to another voice. Where's your ear? So the Most High said because of this, in Genesis 3:15-8, he's going to make enmity between the woman and her seed, and it shall bruise the head of the serpent. And the woman will be greatly multiplied for sorrow and conception. In sorrow you shall bring forth children, and your desire shall be of your man, and he shall rule over them. And that meaning means a lot. I'm not gonna go on that. I'm gonna let you guys. I'm gonna continue to let the word talk. But this is the Most High saying it. It's not me saying it. Not somebody else saying it. It's the Most High saying it. And to Adam, he said, because you have hearkened, that means you have listened without thinking, without processing to her voice. I'll make you be till the ground, and you would till the ground, and that's how you shall eat. I thought there's one thing interesting about when he said till the ground and how we should eat and all those things. When the word talks about the earth and said when the earth is out of order, it says earth travails. We talked about earlier that us going through this walk, we're going to have a lot of pain. We're going to have a lot of tribulation. We're going to have a lot of different things. Isn't it interesting that we are made from the dust of the earth? And in order for the dust of the earth, for a seed to grow, it has to be put in darkness first. It has to fight. It has to go through trouble. It has to break. It has to humble itself. And it has to be nourished in the right environment, the right thing. The word. It said when we looked up earlier, we talked about what was it, quick? And it said the quick is the living water. But it said the word is quick. So that living water gives that seed nutrients. And the earth gives it nutrients. And from there, it produces fruit. And we're right now, if you think about it, we still have dust. Our flesh is the dirt of the ground. But our spirit, our ruach, makes us bear fruit. The only way that fruit can come up out of the ground if you have more of the ruach than the flesh. Let's work that. Let's go. Next one. All right, let's describe what the Most High says about order. The Most High says he defined in the Hebrew. I think I looked at Bible Hub. It talked about the definition of a husband. And it says describing the Bible Hub means literally the band of the house. So the house of the leader, the support of it, the person who keeps together as a band keeps together, a sheaf of corn. There are many married men who are not husbands because they are not the band of the house. That means they're the one who keeps the house together. The wife, as a Canado, she's a helpmeet, one who helps and joins the husband in fulfilling the Most High's vision for their home. I think one of the sermons, somebody brought up that if you look at the word the vision, it means two different visions. And if house can't stand, house divided can't stand. So you think about it, we shouldn't have in a household two different divisions because then you have chaos. You're out of order, right? So let's talk about a father. The father is the strength or leader of the house, the head, founder of a household, group, family, or clan. The mother is the strong water. So, I should say this. So if you look at the father, it has a father being a Aleph and Bayet. So it tells you already, even in the Hebrew context, that he's a strong leader and he's the house. So he builds that house up. It says the mother is Aleph as well, but a Mem. And she's a strong water, one who brings out an immersion and washes the family with the word. If you look at the immersions and those type things, the woman births the child and it brings them out as a new body. It gives them new life. It washed them the first time. Based on how you raise it, till you raise that child like to the Most High, he will continue to do like the Most High. And the difference thing is we have to be a new body, a new man, is when we get in this world, all the things of the world takes away from the righteousness of a child. What we teach it, the child, and what the world teaches the child. And that's why if you love your child, you correct your child. Hasatan's plan. Hasatan's plan is exactly what we see right now. We see the man becoming effeminate, and we see the woman becoming masculine. He's changing the gender roles, and he's making us look like we're out of order, which we are. So the earth is out of order. It's the same plan from the beginning. Long as we sin, long as we don't procreate and be in order, then that seed that's supposed to crush his head cannot come. Because it's not crushing one. Most of the Hasatan is not one person. So we got to understand is this is a fight, and the fight is for your souls. Doesn't mean Hasatan has power. Hasatan has no power. The word already says he rose with all power. The word already says, you look at different chapters, he has to ask permission before he even touches you. So it's not a battle saying Hasatan has rulership. He has no rulership. He has a role to play. He has a purpose. Are we doing our purpose, or he's doing his purpose? This stuff is foolishness. If you look at from all the people that some people look up to, from Tyler Perry movies, who give you that idea that his movies are Christian movies. His movie is funny. His movie is how a broken woman can get a man who's broken the same, and he'll love her the same. He's selling you a fairy tale story. That's not what the Most High told you. That's not what he told you. He didn't tell you we were supposed to have sex before we get married. No, that was ordained. He didn't tell you to have multiple women. That wasn't ordained. He didn't tell you to put on a dress. And then my kids' friends in high school, they one time had to go to a concert, and they were very upset with me when they wanted to go to Beyonce concert, and they had a limo plan, all kind of stuff like that. The mom was paying all kind of extra money just to make sure they go to that concert to have fun, right? Beyonce don't look like somebody who cares about your kids. She got horns on the head. She got signs of that she worships Hasatan. She tell you that about Oshan wears and dresses like her, even when she's pregnant. She's telling you who she's gonna birth, and also Jay-Z. And we send our kids to worship that. That's right there. That's that idolatry that Most High talk about. That's that still serving who we're gonna talk about in the next few slides. All right, I want to bring this up. People say they don't know if this is really a true thing or not. But even if it's not true, the words are true. So instead of using my words, I want to go over what they said about the Willie Lynch and how it divided our families. It didn't do this to the families of the other nations, but it did to our nation, our family. You could tell it still exists today. All right, so it says, take the meanest and most relentless nigga, strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining male niggas, the females, and the nigger infant, tar and feather him, tie each leg to a different horse facing the opposite direction, set him afire, beat that horse and pull him apart in front of the remaining niggas. The next step is to take a bullwhip and to beat the remaining nigger males to the point of death in front of the females and an infant. Don't kill him, but put the fear of Yah in him, for he can be useful for future breeding. We have reversed the relationship in nature on civilized state, and will have the strong dependency on. That's talking about. If now our awakening is telling, we know basically our awakening that the things they did to destroy us was all their plan, right? Psalms 83, right? We reverse the nature by burning and putting civilized nigger apart and bullwhipping the others to a point of death, all in her presence. But her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed, the ordeal caused her to move from her psychological dependency state to a frozen, independent state. In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise that male and female offspring to reverse roles that we saw in the previous pictures. For fear of the young male's life, she would psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. but she has become psychologically independent. She would train her female offspring to be psychologically independent. What do you got there? Now they say you got a nigger woman out of front and a nigger man behind and scared. But I say you got chaos. And you think about it, if you look at what they saying with Will Lynch, they give you one side of it. If you go back and look at the Spanish Inquisition, when they were taking our babies and they were selling them, and they was calling them godparents, really. They was calling them godparents. When they were doing those wickedness, our Hebrew men and Hebrew women was fighting for their children. They were outnumbered. They were getting hit over the head. It was so bloody in that place that they mourned for it. The writers wrote about it, told us the colors before race was an issue. They told us what was happening because it was so horrific, but their fight was so strong. And if you really think outside of what they trying to make an image they try to give us, even when you talk about the slave ships coming over, the slave ships, there was a lot of people killing themselves and their children because they didn't want them to go against our Elohim. They didn't want them to be put in perpetual slavery. They didn't want them to go against the law. So, yes, this is one image they give us. But do we believe that image they give us? Or can we step up and get back in order and do what the Most High tells us to have a strong foundation, a strong family? Because the thing is, we're physically built for certain things, and we got gifts for certain things. A man is built to do a certain role, a woman is built to do a certain role, and both of them are equally important. And that foundation builds a strong children. That's what they're afraid of. That's what the breaking of this willingness thing is about. Can we break that mentality in our head? Can we let go of things that we think are making us stronger? Those things don't make us stronger. They make us weak. The Most High makes us strong. Loving Him and His commandments make us strong. Oh, did I go too far? Yeah, I did. Okay. All right. So now I'm gonna go over First Kings. Over Kings, we'll talk about the story of Ahab and Jezebel. I think this is very relevant because if you look in the scriptures, one of the biggest thing that's always comes up and always haunt us, even to this day, is how Ahab and Jezebel, how their actions were and how they portrayed themselves. And you can find a little Jezebel and Ahab in us today. So what I want you to happen is, if anybody have a piece of paper, while we go through each scripture, write down something that you see that's out of order. And at the end, maybe at the end we have time, we can name some of the things that we feel is out of order, most high order, not our order, the most high order. So 1 Kings 16, 30, 33. And Ahab, the son of Omri, did evil in the sight of Yahuwah above all that were before him. And it came to pass, as it had been a light thing for him, to walk in the sins of Joab. I got a seat for on there, and I'm not used to all the words yet. The son of Nevet, that he took to be his woman, Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Sidon, and went and served Baal and worshipped him. And he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in, I think, Samaria. And Ahab made Asherah poles, and Ahab did more to provoke Yahuwah, Israel, to anger than all the kings of Israel that were before him. I'm gonna pause. They said he did more than provoke him than all the kings of Israel. 1 Kings 18:4. Y'all write down what y'all think was out of order in that first scripture. But it was so that Jezebel cut off the prophets of Yahuwah, and Obadiah took 100 prophets. Took hundreds of prophets and did them by 50 in the cave and fed them. Yeah, that's Obadiah, with bread and water. Y'all see anything wrong with that statement or anything out of order? 1 Kings 18, 13 through 18. Was it not told by Yahuwah that I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of Yahuwah, how I did 100 men of Yahuwah's prophets by 50 in the cave and fed them with bread and water? And now you say, go tell your Yahuwah, behold, Elihu is here, and he shall slay me. And Elihu said, as Yahuwah Sabaoth lives, before who I stand, I will surely show myself unto him today. And Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah, and came to pass that Ahab saw Elijah, and Ahab said unto him, are you he that troubles your Israel? And he answered, I have not troubled your Israel, but you and your father's house, and that ye have forsaken the commandments of Yahuwah, and you have followed Balaam. So in that verse, he's telling him that because you have forsaken Balaam, because you have fallen Baal, that you're going to lose the kingdom. Let's see and it tells you throughout the story what Ahab did. Did he handle it like a man? We're going to see. 1 Kings 18:19-24. Now therefore said, and gathered to me, you Israel, unto Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Baal 450, and the prophets of Asherah 400, which ate at Jezebel's table. So Ahab sent unto all the children of Israel, and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. And Eliyahu came unto all the people and said, how long it be between two opinions? If Yahuwah be Elohim, follow him. If Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word. And then said Elijah unto the people, I, even I only, remain a prophet of Yahuwah, but Baal prophets are 450. Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock unto themselves, and cut them in pieces and lay it on wood. And no fire I would dress it on the bullocks, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And call ye on the name of Elohim, and I will call on the name of Yahuwah. And Elohim and answered the fire, and lit the Elohim, and all the people answered and said, it is well spoken. So think of the boldness and the likeness of Elohim Elijah was. I mean, he was outnumbered, he was outgunned, and he trusted in his Elohim the whole time, to knowing that he was gonna prevail. Not only he trusted, he mocked him. Now you gotta understand, during this time, there was plenty of people that served Baal. You should think how angry you are if somebody say about your Elohim. So think about, he was bold enough to say who he was. And at the end of that, we already know that he brought the sword after he brought the word. History repeats itself. 1 Kings 18:25-30. And Elijah said unto the prophets of Baal, choose 1 bullock for yourself, and dress it first for as many, and call them the name of Elohim, but put no fire under it. And they took the bullock which was given, and they dressed it, and called it the name of Baal from the morning, evening to noon, saying, Baal, hear us. But there was no voice, no any that answered. And they leaped upon the altar which was made. And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, cry aloud, for he is an Elohim. He might not hear you. Either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is journaling, or perchance his sleep. He must be awakened. And they cried aloud and cut themselves after their manner with knives and lances, till the blood gushed out upon them. And it came to pass, when midday was past, that they prophesied unto the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was neither a voice, nor any answer, nor any that regarded. And Elijah said unto the people, come near unto me. And all the people came near him, and he repaired the altar for Yahuwah that was broken. So that's one thing he tells us to do is, we're breaking down the altars, right? But we're building up a spiritual altar within our temples. We're doing that right to this day. Will you have acceptable sacrifice on that altar? 1 Kings 18:31-36. And Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of tribes of the sons of Yaakov. This is right. Whenever the Most High does something, he does it in order. He tells you the numbers. When he does completion, number 7, when he does 12, it's for a reason. Number 14 for a reason. He does everything in order because he's an Elohim of order. We got to remember that. We got to trust that. The word of Yahuwah came saying, Israel shall be your name. And the stones he built on the altar in the name of Yahuwah. And he made a trench upon the altar, as great as would contain 2 measures of seed. And he put the wood in order and cut the bullock in pieces and laid him on the wood and said, fill 4 barrels with water, 4 barrels, Dawid, and pour it on the burnt sacrifice. Open that door, portals. 4 barrels, door, opening. Interesting. And on the wood. And he said, do it the second time. And they did the second time. And he said, do it the third time. And they did it the third time. And the water rained about the altar. Third time. Levi, sacrifice is acceptable or not? And he filled the trenches also with water. And it came to pass at that time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Yahuwah Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, let it be known this day that you are Elohim of Israel, and I am your servant, and that I have done all these things at your word. Moving on, it says, hear me, O Yahuwah, hear me, that this people may know that you are Yahuwah Elohim, that you have turned their hearts back again. Then the fire of Yahuwah fell and consumed the burnt sacrifice and the wood and the stones, the dust, and the water that was on the trench. And it came to pass in the meanwhile that the heavens were black with clouds and wind, and there was a great rain. And Ahab rode and went to Jerusalem, and the hand of Yahuwah was on Elijah. And he girded up his loins and ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel. So I skipped over that part, but basically we know that after the sacrifice was consumed by the Most High, it was time for judgment. The word was put out there. The word saying who's Elohim. The word was telling them who's over Baal, who's the king, who's Elohim of all the earth. That once that's established, he brought judgment. He killed all the prophets of Baal. Are you ready to kill the prophets of Baal inside yourself? Are you ready to kill the prophets of Baal if they're among you? The second part was we gotta write down what Ahab did. If Ahab believed in Baal so much and served two Elohims, because he was saying it for the Most High, but he served Baal with altars. Look what happened here. He didn't stand up like a man. He ran. Says a lot about his character. 1 Kings 19, 1 through 12. Ahab, all that Elijah had done, he had slain all the prophets with the sword. Jezebel sent a message to Elijah saying, so let the Elohim do me and more also. If I make not, your life is as the life of one that tomorrow about this time. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life. And he came to Sheva, which belongs to Yehuda, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey to the wilderness and came and sat down under the juniper tree, and he requested for himself that he might die and said, it is enough now, O Yahuwah, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. And as he lay and slept under a juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him and said unto him, arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was a cake baked on the coals, and a cruse of water of his head. And he did eat and drink, and laid him down again. And the Malachim of Yahuwah came again the second time and touched him, and said, arise and eat, because the journey is too great for you. And he rose and did eat and drink, and went into the strength of the meat 40 days and 40 nights. And 40 days, 40 nights keep coming up. And he came thither into the cave and lodged there, and behold, the word of Yahuwah came to him, and he said unto him, what do you hear, Elijah? And he said, I have been very jealous for Yahuwah Elohei Sabaoth, for the children of Israel have forsaken your covenant. Throw down your altars and slain your prophets with the sword. And I am left and seek my life to take it away. And he said, go forth and stand upon the mount before Yahuwah. And behold, Yahuwah passed by, and great and strong wind rent the mountains and broke in pieces the rocks before Yahuwah. But Yahuwah was not in the wind, and after wind, an earthquake, and Yahuwah was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, fire, but Yahuwah was not in the fire, and after the fire, a still small voice. Jezebel put a spirit in Elijah after he already conquered with boldness, slain with boldness, walked in the Most High. She put a spirit upon him. But they can't put a spirit upon you unless you out of the opening. So what was that opening? Was it distrust? Was it not believing 100%? Was not walking in the Most High order? But you see what the Most High did? He showed his power without even being there. He said, even without not being there, I can make earthquakes come. I can make the wind blow. I can do all these things. All things belong to me. Don't fear Baal. Don't fear Hasatan. Don't allow Jezebel to use you. Show your strength. Be with the Most High, for he is the creator of all things. And it was so that Elijah heard it and wrapped in his face in his mantle and went out and stood in the entering of the cave. And behold, there was a voice unto him and said, What do you hear, Elijah? And he said, I have been very jealous for Yahuwah Sabaoth because the children of Israel. Am I repeating myself? Nope. I have forsaken your covenant and thrown down the altars and slain your prophets with the sword. And I, even I only, am left and seek my life to take it away. And Yahuwah said unto him, Go, return your way to the wilderness of Damascus. And when you come, anoint, I don't know, ain't sure it is, Chazel to be king over Aram, and Yahuwah the son of Nimitz shall you anoint to be king over Israel. And Elijah the son of Shaphat of Avel Makolah shall be anointed to be a prophet in your room. It's interesting that because Elijah didn't walk through the way he was supposed to walk through, he had kind of passed that mantle on, Elijah. And it shall come to pass that him that escapes the sword shall Yahuwah slay, and him that escapes from the sword of Yahuwah shall Elijah slay. Yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, and all the knees which had not bowed to Baal, and every mouth which had not kissed him. So he departed thence and found Elijah the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yokes of oxen before him, and he with the 12, and Elihu passed by him and cast his mantle upon him, and he left the oxen and rained upon Elihu and said, Let me, I pray you, kiss my father and my mother, and I will follow you. And he said unto him, Go back again, what have I done to you? And he returned back from him and took a yoke of oxen and slew them and bought their flesh and instruments of oxen and gave unto the people, and they did eat. Then he arose and went after Elijah and ministered on him. The Most High is so powerful, not only he can raise somebody else up, but he went to the proper order, Elijah, and when he's gonna quickly get up, right? And he's gonna get up and do what the Most High said to do. But one thing he forgot, if you pass that mantle, you had to pass that covenant onto the next. So he stopped to break bread, to make a covenant by slewing an oxen, and involving the thing to make a covenant with Elijah, to be unto the Most High, so he can minister, to be a priest upon the nation, so he can do the works that was set before him. All these things are repeated. All these things is covenant talk, covenant walk. So I thought it was interesting when we talk about Baal. Baal has been a stumbling block in Israel for a long time, and people seem to think that it's only in this story. But if you look in the Bible, at least 6 to 8 verses talk about Baal, and the Most High constantly talks about how he hates Baal, and how Baal is a stumbling block for Israel over and over again. So I saw this one source talk about the fertility coast of Canaan. So let's learn a little bit about Baal and who is he, and why he was so much among the Israelites. When the Israelites entered Canaan, they found a land of farmers, not shepherds, as they had been in the wilderness, and the land was fertile beyond anything the Hebrew nomads had ever seen. So we all know that the Israelites took over the land of Canaan. The Most High gave them as a promised land. The Canaanites attributed their fertility to the god Baal. Why? Because they mixed with the Canaanites, which is a law. We don't supposed to mix with the strangers. And that is where the Israelites' problem began. Could God, who have led them out of Egypt and through the wilderness, also provide fertile farms in the promised land? Or would the fertile God of Canaan have to be honored? Maybe to be saved, they should worship both Yahweh and Baal. That sounds like a double-minded person, huh? To serve both Elohims. When he said, I'm a jealous Elohim. An intense battle began for the minds and the hearts of God's people. The book of Judges records the ongoing struggle the Israelites attracted to, the worship of Canaanite gods, God's disciplinary responses, the people's repentance, God's merciful forgiveness until the next time Israelites reached to Baal instead of Yahweh. Under the kings, the spiritual battle continued. By the time of Ahab and Jezebel, the fertility codes appeared to have an official sanction of Israel's leaders. Ahab, with his wife's encouragement, built a temple of Baal in the capital of Samaria. All the while, prophets like Elijah, which means Yahweh is God, Hosea, Isaiah, and Jeremiah thundered that Yahweh alone deserved the people's allegiance. It took the Assyrian destruction of Israel, the Babylon captivity of Judah, to convince the Israelites that there is one and only one omnipotent Elohim. This struggle to be totally committed to Elohim is a vital important to us today as well. We don't think of ourselves as idol worshipers, yet we struggle to serve Elohim alone in every part of our lives. It's easy and seductive to honor possession, fun, relationship, fame, money, and a host of other potential gods. We need to learn from Israel's experience and respond to Mashiach's command and total allegiance. One way we can accomplish this is to study gods that attract Yahweh's people 3,000 years ago. And that is what we are doing. We are studying our stumbling block. We are learning. We are actually being given grace and mercy by the Most High to actually give us a book to show us what captivity went to and why. The Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Greeks, and the Romans that we're continuing now, he gave us grace to show us, if you do this, I do that. If you continue to do this, I will continue to do that. Do we hear his word? Are we listening to him? The idol worship, are we believing that the idols that we worship is stronger than the Most High? We got to keep in mind that everything that we have, everything we will ever have, was given to us by the Most High and can be taken from us by the Most High. Let that be some words of wisdom.
Hey, Cliff, we got a hand. You want to get the hand now, or you want to wait till then?
Oh, yeah, you can. Let's see how you get that hand on there.
It's IQ. I'll get it for you.
Okay.
Go ahead, IQ.
Shalom, Mr. Picard, man. You own it today, man. Look, I'm laying back and on when you, let's go back to I think it's First Kings. It was 18, and it just brought something to me. It says, "Yet I have left my 7,000 in Israel, all knees which have not bowed unto Baal, and every mouth which have not kissed him." That remind me of the Catholic Pope.
Oh,
ain't that ironic that you got to bow and kiss his ring? So that's what I had. That just popped up in my head when that brought up. But as we see, Baal still lives today.
That's good. Khan. Hey, so now we're gonna break down the different characteristics, different image, the different likeness of Ahab and Jezebel. So let's see what Ahab means. Ahab means fathers, brothers. He was a king of Israel. He the son of Omri. He was a husband of Jezebel. He was a false prophet executed by Nebuchadnezzar at the time of Jeremiah. Jezebel, her name means Baal exists, or Baal is husband to, or unchastised, queen of Israel, wife of Ahab, the daughter of Etbal. Now, I thought it was interesting when I started thinking about it and started studying it. I was like, it's interesting how if you look at Ahab and Jezebel and the order of things is the Most High, then it's the fathers or the husband, then it's the wife, and then the children, right? So they were out of order from jump. But if you look at Ahab and Jezebel, they were just following their fathers. If you look at Ahab's fathers from Jeroboam all the way down to Omri, one of the things Omri, he got the crown from being sneaky and not killing the king at the time straight up. He got snuck behind him and found ways to kill him in battle to take the crown, which didn't last long. So that tells you what kind of man or characteristics Ahab was raised around, right? And he worshipped Baal. Now you look at Jezebel, she was a Phoenician, she was a Canaanite, so they wouldn't have been married in the first place. Her father was Etbal. And I guess I'm skipping ahead of myself, but that she was already been into worshiping. She was already in manipulative practices. But we're gonna talk about that. It's later down the verse. So Ahab was the son of Omri, and according to the Bible, was the wickedest northern king from the lineage of Jeroboam, who was the first northern king, which split happened for the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. For those who know, the northern kingdom is 10 tribes. The southern kingdom is Judah and Benjamin and Levi. His family generation there were conspiracies to take the kingdom. There were calf worship, which is interesting, warred against your brother and Judah. So that's what they did. They not only that, Ahab family did calf worship. So they worshiped the calf, which is Baal, represent. They also was warring against their brother, which what the Bible says, don't war against your neighbor. When it means your neighbor, it means your brother, those of the tribe, not others outside of it. And they were practicing idolatry practice. Jezebel was a daughter of Etbal, from the Canaanite tribe, who was a priest of Astarte, which is Asherah, and she's a moon goddess. She was called many names, and who identified as the goddess of love, fertility, and war. And she's an Aphrodite. People, we have children, so I'm not going to talk about that, but I will talk about, if you look at Ahab and Jezebel, even the worship of Baal, a lot of those things, problems we're having is from controlling your nephesh. Men have an issue with that, but women do too. Controlling your nephesh. That, and today, is the main thing they feed us to kind of make us continue to sin. To not be able to have eyes that look in the right direction. To not to be able to have the ruach so strong that you know you're supposed to be doing something. It turns you the opposite direction. It tells you don't do that. It tells you that's a daughter of Zion. It tells you that's a queen. You don't look at them in another different fashion. You don't look at them as Asherah looks at herself. You don't look at her how she sold her soul continually to gather more souls. We're talking about marriage traits of Ahab and Jezebel. So we are talking about the marriage on our order, first of all, because she was not of the tribe of Israel, and he married her anyway. And Most High didn't want to marry him, for we won't take on their gods, which is exactly what they did. And see what it did to the kingdom. It destroyed that kingdom. So we have unclean spirits joined with another unclean spirit. When we represent an unclean spirit, you represent the spirit's name and are enmity with the Most High, because you walk and operate in the name of that authority of that false god. So you look at the Jezebel spirit and Ahab spirit, they both are walking in authority, but they walk in their Elohim authority, which is not much. It's leftover things that the fallen angels have. So if you look at Jezebel and Ahab, their authority led them to one thing: death. Not only spiritual death, but physical death. Deuteronomy 7, verse 1 through 9, we're going to talk about the law a little bit. So when Yahuwah Elohim shall bring you into the land, whether you go to possess it, he casts out many nations before you, and Chittim and Gargesium, the Amorites, the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and I don't remember what that one is. And you can 7 nations greater and mightier than you. And when Yahuwah Elohim shall deliver them before you, he shall smite them, utterly destroy them. You shall cut no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. That means we don't supposed to accept wickedness anywhere. Neither shall you make marriage with them. Your daughter shall not give unto his sons, nor his daughter shall you take unto his sons. For they will turn away your sons from following me, and they may serve other Elohims. So will the anger of Yahuwah be kindled against you and destroy you suddenly. But thus shall you deal with them. You shall destroy their altars, break down their images, break down those TVs, break down those Instagrams, break down their Facebook, anything that they images that flash in front of your eyes that you know is unrighteous, break it down. Cut down the astral pole. And a lot of us know that part of the astral pole is stripper poles. That's where that thing came from. And burn their graven images with fire. For you are a holy people. We're unto Yahuwah Elohim. Yahuwah Elohim has chosen you to be a special people. He loves you unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Above all people. That's a big responsibility on the face of the earth. Yahuwah did not set his love upon you, nor chose you because you were more in numbers than many people. For ye were fewest of all the people, but because Yahuwah loved you. If you love me, you keep my commandments. And because you will guard oath which you have sworn unto your fathers, as Yahuwah brought you out of the mighty hand and redeemed you out of those house of bondage, which is Egypt, which we are in now, from the hand of Pharaoh of Mizraim. Now therefore that Yahuwah Elohim is Elohim, the faithful El, which guard his covenant and mercy with them, the love with him and guard his commandments to 1,000 generations. 1,000 generations. That means it's not over yet. We need to guard his commandments like our life depends on. We need to love Elohim. We need to be willing to die for Elohim. Because the first death is not the problem. It's the second death. And glory be the Most High. That's what we all want. That glorified body. That first death is we're gonna mortify the body anyway. We need that second death, that glorified body, praising him, glorify him. That's what we want to be. That's who we want to be. an image like the Elohim. So we're going to talk about it. And we're going to get a list of Ahab's spirit, things that we see out of Ahab's spirit. And we're going to make sure on this list that we're not exercising any of these spirits. And if we are, we got to rebuke and repent. We got to turn away. We got to burn those things up. And then make sure we understand that you can't do it once. This spirit ain't one that just goes away. It's been a strong spirit that's been in Israel for years. But we got to recognize it. Are we going to be prideful so much to think we don't have these things? Are we going to be prideful enough that we're not gonna tell our brother, hey man, you might need to check that? It was so strong that you think about that one thing when Israel was about to go captive again. Now I remember, I think one of the Israelites had a woman, a stranger, in his tent, and it caused a sin upon Israel. I can't remember the exact verse. Somebody can help me out with that. And they went in there and they killed them both. They got that wickedness out of their camp because they loved the Most High that much, because they knew it's a certain order that he wanted. So the Ahab spirit is not only for men, it's also for women, and vice versa. But I want the men, I want to focus on the men to make sure that the order was given to you. You were given to wash the garden. You were given to be the house, to build the house of your family, to be the more of your family, not to bow down, not to bend the knee, as they say in Game of Thrones. You was built to stand up. So one of the things of pride is refusing to repent, thinking that you don't have anything to repent for. If all of us live in the flesh, that flesh is constantly warring with us, you got some things to repent. You might not know what those things are. They might be small, they might be large, but there's always room to repent. Don't be prideful. Fear is the truth. This message might be hard for some, and it might touch others, but the reason the message is important because we can't change unless the Most High pierces us. We change every day. We are molded every day from continually him molding us and being a potter, us being the clay and him being the potter. He's going to mold us. He's going to shape us, and he's going to put the fire on us until he gets us purified. We got to accept that. We got to want it. We got to not cry when we in pain and tribulation. And the most time I tell my kids, my son and my daughters, if they hurt themselves, unless it's a big time problem, I say, don't cry. That pain will go away. Deal with it. Know that you're alive. Look at it different. Don't look at it as pain. Look like it's a lesson. And that's how we got to do Israel. We got to do that not only internally, but we got to do that every day of our life. When we have problems at the job, we have problems with people that we deal with, you got to understand, what am I going to learn from this? What am I doing wrong first? Look at yourself first, then look at others. Being clingy and needy. A spirit can tell a clingy and needy man. That's not a good thing. Indecisive. When Adam was naming the animals, he didn't sit there and try to figure out what the name going to be. He had to decide. He didn't ask Most High, hey man, I can't get this one, Most High. What do you think I should call this one? Nah, you got to make a decision. Be wise, but make a decision. Talk loud and says nothing. I tell you, man, before in the Truth and Awakening, you got a lot of men that will talk a bunch of noise, but say nothing, but they be the biggest cowards. Israel's not like that. If you look at the word of Judah and the 12 tribes, when they went to war, and it wasn't a one-on-one. It might be 1 in 1,000, and they wasn't afraid of anything. Fear was on the other end because they had the Elohim with them. That's his wisdom. Fear is rejection. That's the thing that constantly, I know myself, when in the dating world, one thing men didn't want is rejection. But I tell you what, your game got tight with rejection. Don't be afraid of rejection. Afraid of confrontation. Privately complains behind the backs of others. Some of these characteristics, we're going to talk about it after this, some of these characteristics seems kind of similar. Refuses to submit to authority. Rebel your spirit. Rebuke that thing. He has an order of things. He has an order for a reason. Sometimes you got to sit behind and learn. Sometimes somebody else was blessed with opportunities, but you don't know why they were blessed. You don't know what they went through to get to that level. Sometimes he's trying to train you, like Elijah and Elisha. Blaming others for a situation. It was that person's fault, not my fault. Always point yourself first. Manipulative. Claims to be a man of the Most High, but is secretly wicked within. That means you claim to be a man of the Most High, but you're still doing wickedness. You're acting. You're playing a role. You have a mask on. Pessimistic. And everything's a problem. Whenever you talk about something, it's always like, maybe we could do this way, maybe we do that way, but no, bring no solutions. Lack of enthusiasm, self-pity, accepting failure or lacks responsibility, meaning a failure is an opportunity to get better in something. A failure is an opportunity to learn. You don't fail unless you lay down. How they say, well, if you fall and you don't get up, that's failure. Falling is good. Falling, you learn. Falling, you grow. Fear is real masculinity. Ahab, man, like you saw, when Elijah went after him, he got on that horse and got out. And the first thing he did, tell his wife. Spiritual blind and deaf. That's what we're talking about now. Having spiritual eyes and spiritual ears. Uh-oh. We're on Jezebel too. Cunning with mood swings. So always trying to find a way around things to get your way. One's authority befolds the consequence of their decisions. You have some, and that's men and women, but that would actually want authority, say they want to be in charge. When something go wrong, it's not mine. I didn't do it. I don't want no parts of it. You fix it. Self-appointing. People need titles and positions. Will only attack when they got the advantage. That's exactly what, if you look at Jezebel, that's exactly what she did. She only attacked when she had the advantage. When she didn't have the advantage, what did she do? She put in her war paint. And she tried to seduce or find a different way to get her to get an advantage or to kill her enemies. And one thing I want to bring up, but I'm going to throw it real quick, kind of like I threw up in the last thing we talked about. When you talk about the war paint, if you do some research on it, that they said they have an article that said it happened in England and then have in the United States, but I disagree with that. They use certain ingredients they use aborted fetuses for makeup. And if you look at makeup is witchcraft. Makeup has witchcraft potential because a lot of the things they use different things in it, doesn't need to be in it. So if you look at it, vanity with having makeup, all women are the most beautiful women on the planet. The Most High made you perfect. Made you perfect. You don't need what man made to fix you up. You are exactly what he did for you. And one thing we should understand now, because of all these things, the wickedness that it has in our society, from our food, from everything else that they try to do, before we put anything on or put anything in our bodies, we need to research what's in it. Okay, I'll leave that alone. Use coercion and influence as a weapon to turn others against you. That's the bad one in Israel. One big thing that Jezebel does, she destroys your relationships. She uses seductive or manipulative gain to gain benefits rather than build a covenant relationship. I don't think I had to really kind of get in that one. That's just a better way of saying women don't use your man when you need something to get the benefits. Be holy, be righteous, be a covenant. That your relationship with the Most High and your got a hand. Who is that? That's you, Just?
Oh, that's me. Go ahead, keep going. I'll keep going.
Now, what you got? What you got?
Oh, no, I was clapping.
Oh, okay, I got you. Refuse to repent. They're already right. That's another thing of pride. Turns others against each other. Subjection of a man. If you look at a Jezebel spirit that's been throughout these years, it really is a destructive spirit. It destroys, it doesn't build up. And the dangerous thing about it is, if you're supposed to wash the word of your household, if you portray that spirit in your household, then your children is going to have that same spirit. You had to rebuke that spirit at your children. And how are we going to build a foundation? How are we going to build a kingdom with that kind of destructive spirit? Refuses correction. Carnal-minded and led by her flesh. Afraid of direct confrontation. You'll find a different way of calling that person out. But you won't come straight at that person. You won't say what you mean. You won't say what you feel. You'll say it in a different way. Or you'll go around, talk to somebody else, to talk to that person, to talk to that person. Gossip. Starts the war, but leads the battle. So I've seen other people, not saying everybody does that, but I've seen some people say, well, I don't need a man. And will get confrontation with somebody. But then once they get confrontation with somebody and the conversation don't go where they wanted to go, they might need that man. Now, their first thing they'll tell you, I've heard at work, they say, well, you know what? If that happens, I'm going to call my daddy. I'm going to call my brother. So you're going to use, so first you want to start the war and thinking about that person. But then when you can't win that war, now you don't get a man figure to step in and win that war for you. We all have different functions. Idol worship. Men are very much influenced by women. So a lot of times with idol worship, a man might know is wrong and be Ahab spirit and don't sell it's wrong and don't set it and don't set the boundaries. We got to be able to set order in. Self-promotion. And it's almost similar to the other one that you want a title so bad that it defines you. But the title don't define you, the Most High defines you. Sometimes the message you have to give, the Most High gives you to give, is not a good one. So you might not want that. You might want that role. But if your role you're playing your role and it does nothing it doesn't edify, and nobody comes to you saying they don't like that word, and you're probably being one of those church spirit where you're making everybody feel good message. From what I read and what I continue to read in the word, it's not a lot of feel good messages. It's a lot of correction. Unrifling and gaining authority leads to spiritual blindness and deafness for others. False testimony and prophecy. That's the one thing that I've noticed that since its awakening, we hear a lot of people saying they're prophets. I don't know if we understand how dangerous that is. Saying you're a prophet of the Most High, for one thing we got to understand what a prophet is. If you could prophesy something, you have to say something way far in advance, and whatever you said had to come to fruition, and it has to be given to the Most High. The Most High does not like false prophets. It's not even a word I would want to use, even if I was one, because you hold a lot of responsibility in it. So we got to be careful with our words and careful what we're saying. Witchcraft. We already talked about it in assembly, already trying to find out the witchcraft was in our assemblies. We got to purge those out. It's no longer Israel dealing with witchcraft, because witchcraft, all it is hostile working his way. And if you're spiritual minded, that witchcraft should not feel comfortable. It should make it feel uneasy. He should be thrown up in our presence. Religious spirit, having that spirit that of pain, having that spirit that you hold on to your anguish, you hold on to what everybody done to you, you hold on to thinking that makes you who you are. But maybe sometimes the Most High put you in pain to help others. Maybe sometimes that pain builds you up. Maybe when you got over that knee scratch, what could it be? That failure, it made you stronger. It made you know what you did wrong and what you did not do, or you didn't work hard enough. Maybe you didn't get that promotion. You say, you know what? I'm going to do this, and that to make sure I get that promotion. Because the Most High says, I can do all things. I don't question what my capabilities is.
You got a hand out, Cliff. You want to answer it?
Okay. Yeah, get it for me.
Beer family, go ahead.
I wanted him to slow down a little bit, but I got it all. Thank you.
All right, I'll try to slow down. I talk fast. All right, let's see.
You setting it on fire. Keep going.
Working, trying to work. Matthew 12, 24 to 30. But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, this fellow does not cast out demons, but by Beelzebub, the prince of the devils. And Yahusha knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. Every city or house division against itself shall not stand. If Hastan cast out Hastan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? And if by Beelzebub cast out demons, by whom do your children cast them out? Therefore, they shall be your judges. But if you cast out demons by the Ruach Yahuwah, then the kingdom of Yahuwah has come upon you. Or else, how can you enter into a strong man's house and spoil his good, except the first you bind the strong man? So, in this verse, I'm going to get to the end. We talked about a kingdom divided can't stand. So any of the kingdom that doesn't have order can stand. We're trying to bring Israel back into the kingdom. Mashiach bring us back into the kingdom. Mashiach said, I already said in the beginning, he said we have a high priest that went to all the infirmities, that did everything that we did, was tempted but did not sin. Your excuses are gone. He did it. He walked it. He was in flesh. And he clearly says in this verse, how can one enter into a strong man's house, a strong man? It didn't say a man's house, it said a strong man, and spoil his goods, except he bind the strong man first. Bring the strong man back in your house, Israel. Support your man. Support your woman. But make sure that house is in order. Make sure in Ephesians 5, which talks about the order of things, is in order. That way, you can, Hasatan can enter your house if you have a strong man, if you have a strong foundation, if you have a strong woman who's washing with the water. We got to be back in order. We have to. And then he spoils his house. He that is not with me is against me, and he that gathers not with me scatters abroad. The word says that broad is the way, but narrow is the path. So even though I'm saying all these things, that doesn't mean everybody's going to listen. Some people might be hurt. Some people might have a Jezebel, Ahab spirit now. It matters what I'm saying. Some people might be like, I don't have to do that in the kingdom. But I tell you what, broad is the way, narrow is the path. It's going to be a few that hear the word. It's going to be a few that follow Mashiach. It's going to be a few that are able to die to self, to do the things it takes to make the kingdom. So those who endure to end will make it in the kingdom. It has a clear list of those who will not make it. Adulterers, fornications, all those list of things that we know in Revelation now make it. And we know time is nigh, Israel. Time is nigh. Let's get it together. Now, I think, who was that? I think Rodney on the man's call was saying something about, and I totally agree. I tell my staff at work all the time, don't come with problems unless you have solutions, right? And in Israel, it was the same way. Unless we have solutions, don't come with problems. So I'm going to give you solutions, biblical solutions. I'm going to tell you the characteristics of our Abba, our Father. But I'm not going to say in my words. I'm going to say in the words of Elohim himself. So we can go Numbers 23, 19 to 20. El is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of Adam, that he should repent, as he said, and you do not, or has it spoken. And shall he not make it good? Behold, I have received commandments to bless, and he has blessed, and I cannot receive it. So he basically said he cannot lie. So a man, not one who lies, who goes against the Torah, who doesn't speak his mind. The Most High is Elohim that does not lie, that tells you what he has. He's not indecisive. He tells you what he wants from you. Let's talk about Isaiah 55, 11 through 12. So shall my word be that goes forth out of my mouth. It shall not return to me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, that it shall prosper in the things thereof I send it. For ye shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace. In the mountains, the high places, and the hills shall break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. That's what the Father should do. Go to the mountains and the hills. Talk to the Most High, because you know his word is not going to come back void. Speak the word on your children. Don't just talk of worldly things. Don't talk of things that of anger and things of that doesn't have any fruit in it. Tell them the word on them. Know the scripture. Know the word. Because when you know the word, the Most High can use the word within you and he can give you a message through the word. Hebrews 13:5. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as you have. For Yahuwah said, I will never leave you and forsake you. So all these, I shouldn't say it like that, but all these dads are not taking your kids, and all the moms are taking your kids. That's not the characteristic of the Most High. Now he's going to punish you, but he said, I will not leave you or forsake you. Be there. He's supportive. When he make a covenant with you, he makes it and means it. We got to make sure our word it falls away in the same pattern, that when we say something, we mean it. We cannot lie. It cannot come back void. We will do those things we said we would do, as long as it's the will of the Most High. Come to me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lonely in heart, and you shall find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. That's what all you people are thinking you can't do it. Abba, his characteristic, you can do it. That's the characteristic we should have every day, that nothing formed against us to prosper. It should be nothing that we cannot accomplish through our Elohim. He's an Elohim that parted the Red Sea. He's Elohim that did all the plagues of their gods at the time. He's Elohim that destroyed the foundation of Baal on the altar. There's nothing he cannot do, but you got to believe the word. You can't just say it, you have to believe it. Hebrews 12:6-8. For whom Yah loves, he chastises, and scourge every son who he receives. If you endure chastising, Yah deals with you as his son. But what is a son whom the father chastises not? If you be without chastisement, we're all your partakers. They're all you bastards and not sons. He's telling you, if you can't be chastised, if you can't go through a little turmoil, if you don't trust in him to bring you out of it, you're not his son. If you cry about every little pain, if you complain about long hours at work, you complain about things in the house that you can't control, if you complain about not having enough of this and that, then you're not his son, because he is going to put you through the fire and he's going to put you through the flame. But can you get it 7 times hotter? Can you come out? Can Mashiach be with you and trust you enough to guide you with his word, to give you a task to do, and you will follow through with that task because you are not afraid, because you know that chastisement is going to make you purified. It's going to turn you to silver and gold. You're going to be great. You're going to have the glory of the Most High shine on you. Psalms 50, verse 6. And the Shamahim shall declare his righteousness, for Elohim is judge himself. Luke 12:31. But rather seek ye the kingdom of Yah, and all these things shall be added to you. If you want an answer, there's your answer in one small package. Search for the kingdom of Yah, and everything will be added to you. I don't even have to say much about that one. What time is it? Ooh. I really enjoyed this right here. So I'm going to read this one. I know some people don't look at the Apocrypha and those things, but I look at, if it sounds like the Most High, then it's good to me. So you got to know the word, the scriptures to use it. So this is really good about the times that happening right now, I thought. So let's get it. So Wisdom Solomon 3, verses 1-19. But the souls of the righteous are in the hand of Elohim, and there shall no torment touch them. In the sight of the unwise, they seem to die, and their departure is taken for misery, and they are going from us to be utter destruction. But they are in peace. That's all our people, y'all. That's Israel that's being chastised, but still, amidst all this thing, we're still in peace. But though they be punished in the sight of men, that is their hopeful full of immortality. They killed the flesh. They took away immortality, put on mortality. And having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded, for Elohim proved them and found them worthy for himself. As gold in the furnace has he tried them, and received them as a burnt offering, a whole burnt offering. And in the time of their visitation, they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among the stubble. They shall judge a nation and have dominion over the people, and their Yahuwah shall reign forever. Where am I? Shall reign forever. They that put their trust in him, shall understand the truth, and such be as faithful and love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to his Kodashim, to set apart. And he has care for his elect, be his elect, y'all. But the wicked shall be punished according to their own imaginations, with neglect the righteous and forsaking Yahuwah. Who has despised wisdom and nurture? He is miserable, and their hope is vain. Their labors unfruitful, and their works unprofitable. Their women are foolish, and their children wicked. Their offspring is cursed. Wherefore blessed is the barren that is undefiled. Since blessed is the ones who can't even have children, which has not known the sinful bed. She shall have fruit in the visitation of her soul. That blessed is the eunuch, which with his hands has wrought no iniquity, nor imagined wicked things against Elohim. For unto him shall be given a special gift of belief, and an inheritance of the temple of Yahuwah, more acceptable to his mind. For glorious is the fruit of good labors, and the root of wisdom shall never fall away. As for the children of the breakers of wedlock, the covenant, they shall not come to their perfection, and the seed of the unrighteous bed shall be rooted out. For though they live long, yet shall they be nothing regarded, and their last age shall be without honor. Or they die quickly, they have no hope, neither comfort in the day of trial. For horrible is the end of the righteous generation. Don't let this be us, y'all. Don't let this be us. So, question, are we walking in faith or are we walking fake? So what should we do? How can we live this Torah life? Trust him, obey him, operate in valor and virtue. So be a mighty man of the Most High. Be a virtuous woman. You know why? We always say this, Yah is told, Yah is good. Who has your ear? I'm done, y'all. Any questions?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Great word.
Hallelujah.
Good word, man. Good job.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Good word,
Ach,
man.
you
Good
did
word.
that, Ach. You did that,
All
Ach.
praises to the Most
All
High.
praise to the Most High.
Hallelujah.
All right now.